What is going on, guys? Andrew of Newbar Gaming back here, and today we're going to be talking about some episodes 86, 87, and 88, summaries, cast lists, and titles for Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. So we have summaries for episodes 86 and 87, a cast list for episode 86, and titles for all three of them. So let's go ahead and dive in with the summaries for episodes 86 and 87, since those two seem to be very closely tied together. So beginning with 86, we have Wisdom of the Have-Not. Lightning decides to go after Spectre next. Using his Armatos Legio monsters and Judgment arrows, he creates an extra link and drives Spectre into a corner. However, Spectre has already prepared something in advance to counter Lightning's strategy. Moving on to the episode 87 title and summary, it's going to be titled Chain Destruction, and it reads, Spectre was able to use Judgment arrows to his advantage and destroy Lightning's extra link, turning the tide of the duel in his favor. With his Sun Avalon towering over the field, Spectre launches a fierce attack against Lightning and does everything he can to carry out the Knights of Hanoi's mission to destroy the Ignises. And then lastly, for our cast list for episode 86, we have Yusaku / Playmaker, AI, Soulburner, Blue Maiden, Kusanagi, then Aqua, Akira, Revolver, Spectre, Faust, Dr. Genome, Vira, Lightning, Windy, Bit, Boot, our Frog / Vision team, and our extras. So beginning with just a little bit of analysis, guys, when I saw in the preview for episode 86 at the end of episode 85 we were going to have Spectre involved in a duel again, I was super hyped. I thought he was a really neat character, one of the primary highlights of of season 1. I thought he served as a really nice contrast to the majority of people's perspectives on what happened in the Lost incident. It was kind of an odd twist to see somebody who actually really enjoyed it, but it made sense to some level. It gave him an outlet for his emotions, somewhere he could feel really at home, versus when he was at the orphanage he felt fully alone and very upset all the time. He was able to connect with his duel monsters. They gave him something that he could bond with. It was also an interesting twist on things, because a lot of times that connection to duel monsters is tied to, say, our main protagonists, as opposed to Spectre, who was serving as an antagonist at the time. Now, that being said, the way his character was written, I also thought it was going to serve for a really strong anti-hero at some point, and here he is essentially playing that role. He's working alongside Playmaker and company, but he does still maintain a different endgame than them. Mix in the fact now that we've got a lot of recent character growth for Revolver, who he ties himself to very closely and is essentially willing to be loyal to no matter what, and our brief appearances on screen by Spectre during the season, implying that he may have even had some character growth and maybe developing a little bit of the soft spot for the Ignises, such as when he reacted painfully to realizing that Earth had been destroyed. Granted, that could just be a result of their connection causing some sort of physical pain, but still implies to me that we may be seeing an overall even more interesting Spectre during this duel. I also thought his deck was kind of neat to see in action, the way his monsters all kind of relied on one another and chained together. I thought Lightning had an interesting deck to see in action, so I think this is going to be one of the better duels coming our way for a while now. Now, that being said, the disappointing part in my eyes is he is going up against essentially the main antagonist of the season in Lightning, which basically writes him off for defeat, given how he's not exactly a main protagonist, and usually Yu-Gi-Oh! Reserves the right to defeat the main antagonist to the main protagonist, which would be Yusaku. So it's going to kind of stink to see Spectre maybe show up again and then be defeated immediately. So let's tie in a little bit of evidence of what we've got in terms of the classic duel summaries here. It seems like Spectre does a good job overcoming Judgment arrows, and interestingly enough, the episode 87 title called Chain Destruction is actually another classic trap card from Yu-Gi-Oh! And they've been doing that a lot lately with Revolver using both Mirror Force and Imperial Order. Chain Destruction comes from roughly, a long time ago in Yu-Gi-Oh! To put it lightly, and it reads as follows: when a monster with 2,000 or less attack is summoned, target one of them, destroy all cards with that name in its controller's hand and main deck. This seems like something that could definitely be used against someone like Lightning, whose deck is so centralized around these Armatos Legio creatures, and it's possible that maybe they share the same name on the field. I'm not necessarily positive about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has multiple copies of them, and maybe Spectre uses this to destroy a key combo piece in his deck, and it would once more go in line with the idea of using these classic trap cards and having them show up again in Vrains. So kind of a neat little aspect there. But as for the 87 summary, the thing that stands out more to me is Spectre launches a fierce attack against Lightning and does everything he can to carry out the Knights of Hanoi's mission to destroy the Ignis. That does everything he can sounds to me like he likely fails, which would once more go in line with the common patterns we have for Yu-Gi-Oh! Writing, where nobody but the main protagonist can defeat the main antagonist. So kind of stinks to see all that in action. Not really sure how to spell out anything that could necessarily go in Spectre's favor there. I guess the one thing that kind of holds out a glimmer of hope for him is we could always have Bowman be the main antagonist, maybe after seeing his brother fall in Haru, and if Lightning were to be defeated, then he really gets this vengeful aspect and then starts clipping off people until nobody but Playmaker and like Revolver's left. Maybe we see like a 2-on-1 duel or something along those lines. I think that could be neat to watch happen, and it would definitely be a shocker, I think, for a lot of people to see Spectre beat Lightning here. That being said, it's also probably good writing if you're trying to build Lightning up as a really good duelist to have him overcome somebody like Spectre. Unlike a lot of other characters that are quote-unquote disposable based on like typical Yu-Gi-Oh writing, Spectre does have a major win against Aoi from season 1, so it would definitely add to Lightning's reputation if he's able to win there. So good writing, but kind of stinks in my eyes to see one of my favorite characters go down so early. So with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and truck right along to our episode 88 title. I didn't really hit the cast list too much here just because I feel like most of that's pretty predictable. You've got your Kusanagi, then you've got the Knights of Hanoi camp, who are essentially Kusanagi-ing for someone like Spectre. You got the Frog and Pigeon team, who are just kind of covering things. Bit and Boot acting as that first line of defense to protect the Ignis's castle, and then everybody else most likely just kind of spectating. So like I said, let's go ahead and move on to the episode 88 title. Title for episode 88 is going to read Revenger Windy. Now, given how we don't have a lot of context to go off of this, it obviously sounds like Windy's most likely going to be having a duel. The question is going to be who it's going to be against. I could easily see it being somebody like Revolver, given how that's the person who defeated him the first time, and he's probably going to be wanting to seek revenge on some level. After coming off a loss, like most likely for Playmaker's team, and having Lightning defeat Spectre, which once more is the most likely result of that duel, could be possible they want to send Windy then against Revolver. It makes sense for his character to want to seek revenge on him. Most likely have Revolver make a big win there. A lot of times our main rival only gets defeated by the main antagonist. So with that being the case, that would make a lot of sense. The other possibility is they take out somebody else from Playmaker's team. Maybe duel somebody like Soulburner, who hasn't really shown much experience dueling against the AIs, or he goes up against somebody like Aoi or something like that. Maybe he's like seeking revenge against Aqua for quote-unquote betraying them or something like that. Maybe in his eyes he's seeing Aqua as a traitor. Kind of hard to say there. It definitely sounds like we're having Windy duel again. I feel it's pretty unlikely Windy's going to get a win here unless they have him go against, say, Aoi. I hate to say that because I like seeing Aoi's character in action a lot. I would love to see a lot more of her new deck, but I feel like Soulburner hasn't even gotten a chance to duel an Ignis, and I doubt they're going to have him just take that as a loss right away, especially with as much buildup as the character's gotten as being a good duelist so far. And I don't think they're going to have Revolver lose yet. Suppose if Spectre defeats Lightning, maybe Windy's taking revenge for him against Spectre. That's definitely one possibility, and Spectre's also more closely entangled with the Knights of Hanoi than, say, like Yusaku or Aoi or Soulburner, so it makes sense for his revenge to be taken out on Spectre more than anybody else except Revolver himself, at which rate maybe then Spectre does fall after getting a win. That would be a cool way to kind of write it in and have like some surprises going on with the duels there. Other than that, I don't see a whole lot of other possibilities for this playing out. I highly doubt he would beat Revolver or Playmaker, and I feel like his most likely candidates to duel would probably be Revolver or Spectre, since they would make the most sense as targets of revenge. So with all that being said, guys, that's going to about wrap up my thoughts on these titles, summaries, and cast lists. Any theories or ideas you have, be sure to leave them down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If not, constructive criticism is always welcome, and I'll catch you guys next time with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains content.